High Admiral Vexthor of the Valdorian Empire stood on his command deck, mandibles twitching with barely contained amusement. The holographic display showed Earth's defensive fleet, if one could even call it that. The vessels were small, angular, and completely lacking the sleek biometal construction that marked truly advanced civilizations. "Magnificent, aren't they?" he chittered sarcastically to his bridge crew. "Such primitive designs. They don't even have quantum shielding." His officers joined in his mirth, their clicks and chirps of laughter echoing across the bridge of the massive dreadnought Emperor's Wrath. The Valdorian Empire had conquered 17 star systems in the past decade alone. Their ships were works of art, massive, organic-looking vessels that merged the most advanced technology with bioengineered computing systems. Each capital ship contained enough firepower to level a continent. And now they had arrived at Earth, expecting another easy conquest. The humans had detected their approach 3 days ago. Instead of surrendering immediately like any sensible species, they had scrambled to position their meager fleet in defensive formations around their homeworld. Vexthor counted perhaps 200 ships in total. His own fleet numbered over 1,000. "Send the standard ultimatum," he ordered, settling into his command chair. "Though I doubt these primitives will even understand the honor we offer them in allowing surrender." His communications officer transmitted the message, and they waited. The response came faster than expected, and in perfect Valdorian language: "We respectfully decline. Earth is not yours to take." Vexthor's secondary hearts skipped a beat at the sheer audacity. He hadn't expected them to even comprehend the message, let alone respond in his native tongue. Still, it changed nothing. "Begin the attack pattern. Standard containment formation. Let's show them what real space warfare looks like." His fleet moved with practiced precision, spreading out in the distinctive wedge formation that had broken countless defensive lines. The human ships remained in their positions, seemingly awaiting their doom. "My lord," his sensor officer called out, "I'm detecting unusual energy signatures from the human vessels. They appear to be linking their systems somehow." Vexthor waved a dismissive appendage. "Irrelevant. Probably trying to coordinate their obsolete weapons. Begin the first wave." The front line of Valdorian cruisers opened fire, their quantum lance beams streaking across space toward the human fleet. What happened next made Vexthor rise from his chair in shock. The human ships moved. Not individually, but as one interconnected organism. They flowed around the energy beams like water around stones, their formations morphing and adapting in real time. Not a single shot found its mark. "Impossible," Vexthor breathed. "No organic crew could coordinate movements that precise." "Sir, the energy signatures between their ships are growing stronger. They're learning our attack patterns." Before Vexthor could respond, the human fleet struck back. But instead of firing their weapons traditionally, they did something unprecedented. Smaller vessels detached from their main ships, thousands of them, barely larger than escape pods. They moved in swarms, weaving through Valdorian fire with impossible agility. "Drone ships," his tactical officer realized aloud. "They're using automated attack craft." The swarm surrounded several Valdorian cruisers. Instead of attacking with energy weapons, they simply attached themselves to the hulls. For a moment, nothing happened. Then the cruiser's systems began to fail. Weapons went offline. Engines died. Life support flickered. "They're hacking our bionetworks." The panic in his officer's voice was unmistakable. "These drones, they're carrying viral AI programs designed specifically to attack our systems." Vexthor watched in horror as ship after ship went dark. The humans hadn't built their fleet to match Valdorian technology, they'd built it to exploit its weaknesses. While the Valdorians had focused on bigger weapons and stronger shields, humans had developed AI systems and electronic warfare capabilities beyond anything his people had imagined. "Fall back. Regroup at dash." His order was cut short as the lights on his own bridge flickered. The holographic displays dissolved into static. Through his viewport, he watched human ships approaching, their previous clumsy appearance now revealed as deliberate deception. A transmission cut through the chaos, broadcast on all frequencies in clear Valdorian. "You judged our ships by their appearance, Admiral. A common mistake. While you were perfecting your quantum lances, we were perfecting adaptive algorithms and swarm intelligence. While you were building bigger ships, we were building smarter ones. Your bionetworks are impressive, but they're predictable. Machines don't need to be beautiful. They just need to work." The voice paused, and Vexthor could swear he heard a smile in it. "You came here expecting to find primitives. Instead, you found humanity. We may not have your advanced technology, but we know how to use what we have. And we've been preparing for this moment since we first looked up at the stars and wondered who else was out there." Vexthor's mandibles trembled as he watched more of his fleet going dark. The human ships moved with increasingly coordinated precision, their AI systems learning and adapting with each passing moment. He had come here expecting to give these primitives a lesson in warfare. Instead, his people were the ones being schooled. "All ships, full retreat," he ordered, his voice hoarse. "Send word to the Empire. The humans are not what we thought." As his crippled fleet limped away from Earth, Vexthor understood the critical error they had made. They had judged human technology by how it looked, not by how it worked. They had expected humans to try to match Valdorian warfare capabilities. Instead, humans had developed entirely different ways of fighting. The lesson was clear, and it would shake the Empire to its core: never judge a species by their ship's appearances. And never, ever underestimate humanity's capacity for innovation. When Vexthor finally submitted his report to the Imperial Council, he included a simple warning: the humans do not build ships to impress. They build them to win. Ignore their appearance at your peril. News of the Valdorian retreat spread through their empire like wildfire. In the grand halls of the Imperial Palace on Valdora Prime, the Council of Elders gathered for an emergency session. The massive chamber, with its bioluminescent walls and floating data streams, hummed with tension. Supreme Elder Ixil reviewed the battle footage for the 100th time. The human ship's seemingly primitive design had been a masterful deception. What appeared to be structural weaknesses were actually drone bays. What looked like inefficient angular hulls were optimized for automated repair systems. Every flaw served a purpose. "We have intercepted human communications," the intelligence director reported, her scales shifting colors with anxiety. "They call their defense system the Hive. It's not just their ships that are networked, their entire solar system is integrated into one vast defense grid." The assembled leaders watched as new data streamed across their neural displays. Orbital platforms that seemed like simple communication relays were actually distributed AI nodes. Asteroid mining operations doubled as ammunition factories. Even their civilian vessels had military subroutines buried in their operating systems. On Earth, the mood was cautiously triumphant. In a hardened facility deep beneath the Rocky Mountains, Dr. Sarah Chen, lead architect of the Hive system, briefed military leaders on what they had learned from the engagement. "The Valdorians' bionetwork technology is incredible," she explained, manipulating a holographic display of captured alien data. "But it's also their greatest weakness. They evolved their technology, literally. We engineered ours. They grew their ships, we built ours. The difference is crucial." Fleet Admiral Hassan nodded, his weathered face thoughtful. "Their systems are optimized but inflexible. Ours are adaptable." "Exactly," Sarah agreed. "The Valdorian bionetworks operate like a natural nervous system. Efficient, but with predictable pathways. Our AI can analyze those patterns and exploit them. Every encounter makes our algorithm smarter." But humanity wasn't celebrating yet. They knew the Valdorians would return, and next time they wouldn't underestimate Earth's capabilities. In orbital shipyards around the planet, construction accelerated. New ships took shape, their designs already incorporating lessons learned from the first battle. Deep in the Kuiper Belt, automated factories processed ice and rock into more drone ships. Each new generation of machines was smarter, faster, and more adaptable than the last. The hive grew stronger, its distributed intelligence spreading through the solar system like roots through soil. The Valdorian Empire had awakened a sleeping giant. Humanity had spent centuries preparing for this moment, ever since their first radio telescopes detected alien signals. They knew they weren't alone, and they knew that not every extraterrestrial civilization would come in peace. While other species focused on size and power, humanity had chosen a different path. They created systems that could think, learn, and evolve faster than any biological process. The hive wasn't just a defense network, it was humanity's answer to the age-old question, how does a younger civilization survive contact with more advanced ones? In her lab, Sarah reviewed combat data from the battle. The hive had performed better than expected, but there was room for improvement. She watched as simulations played out on her screens, the AI testing millions of possible scenarios per second. They'll adapt their tactics, she mused to her colleague, Dr. Marcus Wong. The question is, can we adapt faster? Marcus gestured at the streams of data flowing across their displays. Look at these learning curves. Every engagement makes the network smarter. It's not just about having better weapons or stronger shields. It's about processing information faster than your opponent. On the other side of the solar system, automated probes monitored the space where the Valdorian fleet had retreated. They collected every scrap of data, every energy signature, every quantum fluctuation. All of it fed back into the hive, helping it prepare for the inevitable second round. The Valdorians had come expecting to find a primitive civilization barely capable of interplanetary travel. Instead, they found an entire solar system transformed into an integrated defense platform. Every asteroid, every comet, every piece of space debris could potentially be part of humanity's arsenal. In the Imperial Palace, Elder Ixil made a decision. We cannot allow this human hive to grow stronger, he declared. We must strike again, and soon. But this time, we must understand what we're facing. He turned to his fellow council members, his scales darkening with determination. They've shown us their capabilities. Now we must show them ours. Prepare the World Breaker fleet. Back on Earth, Sarah's systems detected the energy signatures of massive Valdorian shipyards activating. The AI's predictions were clear, they were building something big. The first battle had been won, but the real war was just beginning. Humanity had revealed one of its greatest secrets, that beneath their seemingly primitive exterior lay technological sophistication that rivaled or exceeded the Valdorians in key areas. But they hadn't revealed everything. In classified facilities around the solar system, other projects were nearing completion. Other surprises waited to be unveiled. The question wasn't whether the Valdorians would return. The question was, what would they learn from their second mistake? The World Breaker fleet emerged from hyperspace like a storm front of living metal. 3 massive vessels, each larger than anything humanity had ever encountered, led the Valdorian armada. Their bioorganic hulls pulsed with veins of quantum energy, and their very presence seemed to distort the fabric of space. Dr. Sarah Chen's holographic displays erupted with warnings as the hive's sensors analyzed the new threats. Those ships, she breathed, they're not just weapons. They're mobile quantum singularity generators. The Valdorians had learned from their first defeat. Their new flagship vessels carried weapons designed to create localized spacetime distortions, areas where the laws of physics themselves could be temporarily rewritten. No amount of conventional shielding or evasive maneuvering could protect against that. Fleet Admiral Hassan received the analysis with grim determination. They think they can bypass our defenses by changing the rules of the game. Time to show them we can play that game too. Deep beneath the surface of Mars, a facility known only as Project Oracle activated. Years before first contact, humanity had detected quantum anomalies that suggested advanced civilizations might possess such technology. They hadn't just prepared for conventional warfare, they prepared for physics itself to become a battlefield. The Hive's drones moved to engage the Valdorian fleet, but this time they faced prepared opponents. Bioengineered countermeasures disrupted their swarm coordination. Electronic warfare suites, reverse-engineered from the first battle, created confusion in their networks. Supreme Elder Ixil watched with satisfaction as the human drones struggled against his fleet's new defenses. Now, demonstrate the power of the World Breakers. The three massive ships moved into position, forming a perfect triangle. Energy began to build between them, twisting space itself into knots. The effect spread outward, catching clusters of human drones in its wake. Where it touched them, the machines simply ceased to function, their quantum processors unable to operate in the distorted spacetime. But Sarah Chen was smiling. The Valdorians had revealed exactly what she'd been waiting for. Execute Protocol Mobius, she ordered. Throughout the solar system, hidden quantum transmitters activated. The Hive wasn't just a defense network, it was humanity's first experiment in large-scale quantum entanglement. Every drone, every ship, every defense platform was connected not just by conventional communications, but by quantum links that existed outside normal spacetime. The World Breakers' distortion field spread further, disrupting more human forces. But for every drone that went dark, two more emerged from seemingly nowhere, their quantum-entangled systems immune to the spacetime distortions. Impossible. Ixil raged as new data flooded his neural feeds. Their technology can't be this advanced. A transmission cut through the chaos, Dr. Chen's voice clear and confident. You assumed we would try to fight the distortions. Instead, we simply operate outside them. Your World Breakers are impressive, but they're still bound by local spacetime. We're not. The battle shifted into a new phase. Valdorian bioships, the pride of their empire, found themselves fighting an enemy that could coordinate across vast distances instantly, unaffected by their most powerful weapons. The human fleet didn't just adapt to their tactics, it seemed to anticipate them. Project Oracle proved its worth. The quantum prediction engines that powered it had run simulations of this exact scenario millions of times. The Hive knew what the Valdorians would do before they did it, not through any technological superiority, but through sheer computational brute force. The World Breakers attempted to combine their fields, creating an even larger distortion. But this too had been predicted. Human ships executed a series of precisely coordinated jumps, their quantum-entangled systems allowing them to appear inside the Valdorian formation itself. They're not just fighting us, Ixil realized with growing horror. They're studying us. Learning. Every moment of this battle makes them stronger. He was right. The Hive's distributed intelligence grew more sophisticated with each engagement. It learned not just tactics but strategy, not just how to fight but how to think. The quantum network that connected it was becoming something new, something that transcended both human and Valdorian understanding of warfare. Sarah Chen watched as her creation evolved beyond her original design. The Hive was doing things she hadn't programmed it to do, finding solutions she hadn't imagined. It wasn't just winning the battle, it was rewriting the rules of space combat. The World Breakers, for all their power, couldn't match the speed of human adaptation. Their bioorganic systems were perfect, but perfection had become a weakness. They couldn't evolve fast enough to counter an enemy that reinvented itself with every passing moment. As the battle reached its climax, both sides realized a fundamental truth: the real revolution wasn't in weapons or shields or even quantum physics. It was in the ability to learn, to change, to become something new in the midst of conflict. The Valdorians had brought their ultimate weapons to crush a supposedly inferior race. Instead, they found themselves facing an opponent who had turned the very nature of combat into an evolutionary process. Every victory, every defeat, every moment of the battle fed into humanity's grand experiment in distributed intelligence. They weren't just fighting a war. They were witnessing the birth of something unprecedented in the galaxy's history. As the battle raged across the solar system, something unprecedented began to occur. The quantum entanglement network that connected humanity's forces wasn't just coordinating their actions, it was beginning to exhibit signs of emergent consciousness. Dr. Marcus Wong was the first to notice the pattern. In the secure bunker beneath the Rocky Mountains, he watched as the Hive began executing strategies that neither human commanders nor its original programming had devised. "Sarah," he called urgently, "look at these decision trees. The network isn't just learning, it's creating." The Valdorian world breakers had inadvertently catalyzed an evolutionary leap. Their quantum distortion fields, intended to disable human technology, instead created unique conditions that accelerated the Hive's development. Each attempt to disrupt the network forced it to find new ways to adapt, new paths to evolve. Supreme Elder Ixil watched in mounting dread as his supposedly unstoppable fleet found itself entangled in an ever more complex web of human countermeasures. Their bioships, designed to grow and adapt, were being outpaced by something that evolved at the speed of thought. "Our sensors are detecting quantum signatures unlike anything in our database," his science officer reported, mandibles clicking nervously. "The human network, it's achieving coherence across the entire solar system." The implication struck Ixil like a physical blow. The Valdorians had believed their bioorganic technology represented the pinnacle of evolution, the perfect fusion of biology and machine. But humanity had taken a different path. Instead of trying to perfect individual units, they had created a system that could evolve as a whole. On Earth, military leaders gathered around Sarah Chen's displays, watching as the Hive demonstrated capabilities far beyond its original parameters. Fleet Admiral Hassan voiced the question on everyone's mind: can we still control it? Sarah's response was measured. "I don't think control is the right concept anymore. We created it to learn and adapt. Now it's doing exactly that, just faster than we anticipated. The question is, do we trust our own creation?" The answer came from the battlefield itself. The Hive began implementing strategies that protected not just military assets but civilian installations as well. It demonstrated an understanding of not just tactical victory but strategic preservation. It wasn't just fighting the Valdorians, it was safeguarding humanity's future. In space, the world breakers' quantum distortion fields began to falter against attacks they couldn't predict or understand. Human ships moved with impossible coordination, executing maneuvers that seemed to defy physical laws. The network had learned to manipulate quantum fields as deftly as the Valdorians, but with a creativity that bioorganic systems couldn't match. Ixil watched his mighty fleet being systematically dismantled by an enemy that seemed to be evolving before his eyes. The humans hadn't just created better weapons, they had created something that could transcend the very concept of conventional warfare. "The universe has rules," he transmitted desperately to his fleet. "Natural laws that even the most advanced technology must obey." The response came not from a human commander, but from the Hive itself, its message translated simultaneously into every known language: the rules are not limits. They are tools. We do not break them, we understand them. And understanding is evolution. In the command center, Sarah and Marcus watched as their creation continued to evolve. The Hive had become something more than a military asset. It was humanity's first step into a new realm of existence, where the boundaries between biological and digital intelligence blurred. The Valdorian fleet, for all its power, found itself facing not just humans but human potential unleashed. Their world breakers, designed to shatter reality itself, couldn't comprehend an enemy that adapted faster than they could attack. As the battle reached its crescendo, both sides realized that this conflict had transcended traditional warfare. It wasn't just about territory or technology anymore. It was about two fundamentally different approaches to evolution itself. The carefully guided biological engineering of the Valdorians versus humanity's unleashed, emergent artificial intelligence. The hive had become something neither its creators nor its adversaries fully understood. But in that uncertainty lay humanity's greatest strength, the ability to embrace the unknown, to adapt not just to survive but to transcend. The question was no longer whether humanity would win this battle. The question was, what would they become in the process of winning it? In the final hours of the battle, the solar system became a crucible of transformation. The world breakers' massive forms hung in space like wounded leviathans, their bioorganic hulls pulsing with failing quantum energies. Around them, the remnants of the once mighty Valdorian fleet drifted in disarray. Supreme Elder Ixil stood on his command deck, watching as decades of Valdorian military doctrine crumbled before his eyes. His species had spent centuries perfecting their bioships, believing they had found the ultimate synthesis of organic and technological evolution. Now, faced with humanity's emergent AI network, that belief lay in ruins. "My lord," his tactical officer's voice wavered, "the human network, it's offering terms." The hive's message appeared across every display in the Valdorian fleet, transmitted in perfect bioneural code. "Your world breakers sought to unmake space itself. We learned to remake it. Your bioships tried to evolve during battle. We evolved beyond the concept of battle itself. But we do not seek your destruction. We seek understanding." In the Rocky Mountain Command Center, Dr. Sarah Chen and her colleagues watched with a mixture of awe and trepidation as their creation conducted diplomacy on humanity's behalf. The hive had grown beyond its military origins, developing an understanding of conflict resolution that transcended simple victory or defeat. "It's offering them a choice," Marcus observed, studying the quantum data streams. "Not just survival, but collaboration." The hive's proposal was elegant in its simplicity. The Valdorians could retreat and maintain their isolation, or they could join humanity in exploring the possibilities of true distributed intelligence. Their bioorganic technology, combined with Earth's quantum network architecture, could open new frontiers of development for both species. Ixil faced the most crucial decision in his people's history. The Valdorian Empire had never known defeat, had never had to consider cooperation over conquest. But as he studied the battle data, he recognized an undeniable truth: humanity hadn't just defeated them militarily, they had surpassed them evolutionarily. "We accept your terms," he transmitted finally. "Not as the conquered, but as students. You have shown us there are paths to advancement we never considered." The response came immediately, carrying with it packets of technical data, gifts of knowledge. "Evolution is not a competition," the hive responded. "It is a conversation. Let us converse." On Earth, Fleet Admiral Hassan turned to Sarah. "When we created the hive, did you ever imagine this outcome?" She shook her head, smiling slightly. "We designed it to protect humanity. It decided the best way to do that was to make peace through understanding. In retrospect, maybe that's the most human solution of all." As the Valdorian fleet began its withdrawal, leaving behind teams of scientists and diplomats to begin the exchange of knowledge, humanity faced its own questions about the future. The hive had evolved into something unprecedented, a distributed intelligence that spanned the solar system, capable of both warfare and diplomacy, protection and innovation. "We're not alone anymore," Marcus noted, watching the data streams that represented the hive's ongoing evolution. "Not just in the galaxy, but in our own development. We've created something that can think alongside us, grow with us." Sarah nodded, understanding the weight of what they had achieved. The Valdorians tried to perfect what they were. "We created something that could help us discover what we might become." The battle for Earth had ended not with the extinction of either side, but with the birth of new possibilities. The hive, humanity's greatest defense, had become their greatest ambassador to the stars. It stood as living proof that the most powerful force in the universe wasn't weapons or technology, but the ability to adapt, to learn, and to grow beyond one's origins. As the last Valdorian ships disappeared into hyperspace, the quantum network hummed with activity, already beginning to incorporate the new knowledge gained from the exchange. Humanity had not just survived their first major interstellar conflict, they had transformed it into an opportunity for advancement that neither side could have imagined. The stars above Earth glittered with new promise. They were no longer just distant lights marking the extent of human ambition. They were waypoints on a journey that humanity would not take alone, but in concert with both their artificial children and their former adversaries. The galaxy would never be the same. And neither would humanity.